What's up, everybody? I'm back today with a very special guest, Luca Banzer. Pleasure to have you on, man. So he is in real estate, in network marketing. Introduce yourself a little bit.
Yes. Hi, guys. My name is Luca. I'm 20 years old. I'm into the entrepreneur space almost since 4 years. And as Luca said, he's also named Luca. It's quite funny. Into the real estate space, also crypto investing, and yes, into the network marketing space. And I think that's some spaces we're going to talk about today. And yes, nice to be on here. And I'm very curious how the podcast will be.
Absolute pleasure to have you, man. I'm going to jump straight in. So one thing I first noticed about you and Nikita particularly was you are a mentor to Nikita, correct?
Yes.
So we had on the podcast previously.
Right.
That's something I want to get into. So you're very successful for your age, clearly, but you're still at the young age. So I want to understand why you decided to get into mentoring in the first place.
Yes, so I have to correct that. I think I didn't want to go into the mentoring space at the first place. I think at some point in your life, I think with my life it was at a quite early stage.
Yeah.
You get into mentoring because a lot of people asking you, oh, how you done this, how you've done this. And I think earlier or later, that's how you get into the mentoring space. Yeah.
But then is it more than your desire to help people and bring the people up around you who are already close to you that made you get into that? Or
let me explain my entrepreneurial journey and then you will understand. So first of all, I'm not a special guy or something, I'm just a normal dude. And 2019, I dropped out of school. I finished my school in Germany, and I started as an aircraft mechanic, so simple mechanic, and I think it was in the second year of learning of my apprenticeship. It was in 2021, I think. That's when I figured out that there's more than just to be an employee, and because of my dad, we can get to it later. He's also an entrepreneur. I wanted to start entrepreneurial things. So my first entrepreneurial step was I was starting out in the life insurance space. I was selling insurances, and at that point I was 17. But I quickly figured out that this specific niche is nothing for me, like selling insurances. I quickly then shifted into e-commerce. I bought a course then. It was quite expensive for me back in the days. And the next step, we can go into this in more detail. The next step was I got into the investing in crypto space with network marketing. So the thing with network marketing is, for you guys that don't know how network marketing works, it's like a referral or like affiliate program where you can refer a course, a product to someone, and then you get cash back from the company. And earlier or later, you get into mentoring with network marketing, because if you want to grow your organization in network marketing, you have to teach other people how to teach people.
Yeah. Because you have to grow your own team underneath you. So it's not just you referring it, it's you build an entire team of pyramid scheme, Ponzi scheme, whatever you want to call it, of people underneath you who also are network marketing.
Yes.
And then you get commission from them. Yeah.
Right. Yes. And then I also said, the more you achieve in life, I think the more people will approach you. Hey, how you've done this? And I think if the chemistry is right between me and Nikita, it was right because he was a young guy with big goals, and then you get to teach people, and then you.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a position I found myself in. Also with Shaq behind the camera, is very quickly I approached him just because I was from South Africa, he was from Zimbabwe, so we were neighbors, like sub-Saharan Africa. Immediate connection, went up to him. But then I slowly realized that his goals aligned with mine as well, because it was the first thing that he said. And he said to me when we were at the university here, he said, I don't want to be an employee. And as soon as I heard those words, I was like, that's the start. That's that first sentence that once you understand that starts everything. That starts the personal development. That starts the gym. That starts the building businesses. That starts the knowledge seeking. That starts mentorships, everything. And from then, he's come a long way.
Yes. I want to add something to it. Yes. You know the story Murphy's Committee?
No.
Oh, you have to watch it. Okay,
explain.
For my German guys and English guys, you have to listen to the audiobook Murphy's Committee. Murphy's Committee. It's a story about rhinos and cows. In English, it's a really basic.
That's to South Africa.
Oh, you said this. So it's like quite a basic entrepreneurial story about rhinos and cows. And the rhinos in the story are the entrepreneurs, and the cows are like the normal employees living a normal life. And in this story, it's told that rhinos even get better at what they're doing if they're teaching other people how to do it. Because first of all, mentees keep you accountable.
Yeah.
And second of all, you learn the basic stuff on and on. That's how you get better.
No, 100%. And I think that's something a lot of people at home can realize. I mean, even in your school times, you notice like study groups, when you started teaching other people, then you could understand the program more deeply. But that's very funny. That sounds very similar to the whole idea of being either a shepherd or a shepherd dog or a sheep. Yes. And it's either you in the herd or you controlling the herd or you're the one leading the herd.
Yeah.
And building the herd. Okay, interesting. I want to go back into, so your first introduction was through your father into real estate, correct? Or entrepreneurship?
I think it was entrepreneurship, yes. Okay. Because my father has a construction worker company. I think that's in English, yes. He's done it for almost 30 years now.
So then it was tied entrepreneurship and real estate industry because of construction.
Yes. Genau. So my dad worked as a construction worker, but was self-employed. Has his own company in Germany, and I think this was unconsciously the first steps into entrepreneurship, because my dad always told me, okay, think that way, do this, and learned me all the basic things.
Yeah, it's definitely a different way of thinking, and I think that's why it maybe took me a bit longer, because I was raised by both my parents being employees their whole lives. They were never, well, my mom was, but that was before I was born, so I never got to experience that. So I want to go into, let's delve straight into then the real estate industry in Germany. If you can go through the absolute basics for people wanting to get into it, and then obviously for an external audience who are tuning in from South Africa, from Zimbabwe, sort of our homies, shot Sapchi. But yeah, go through explaining the German real estate to someone that's not from Germany and who doesn't understand it, and then sort of the first steps to getting into it.
Yes, okay. So I think, I don't know how it's with other countries. I don't know how it's in America. I just know how it's in Germany. So I think one of the best investments you can take in Germany as an entrepreneur, as an employee, especially as an employee, is going into the real estate space.
Okay, that's very interesting. On it, especially as an employee, you need to elaborate on that.
Yes, I will dive into it. So first of all, why it's like this interesting to go into the real estate space? Because, as I said, I don't know, it's in America. In Germany, it's like you can get a loan from the bank 100% of your real estate. You know, so
100% of the value of the property.
Right, yes. Right. So you can go to the bank and say, okay, I want to buy this specific home to rent it out. How much would it cost? Maybe 200K. And then the bank checks your accounts. It's I don't know how it's in English, but it's Bonität in German.
It's called a credit check.
Credit check, yes. And if you have the right value at credit check, the bank will give you 200,000. So you don't have to pay with your own money for the real estate.
So that's where it becomes interesting as an employee, because if you have a fixed salary that's coming in every month, your credit score is automatically higher because you're seen as less risky.
Yes.
Whereas if you're an entrepreneur, it's kind of harder.
Yes, for sure. I will dive into it. It's quite nice. So first of all, the bank will give you the 200,000 loan, and then the inhabitants in your room, I don't know, will pay off your loan. And the government will give you also like additional money for like climate additions to your home, I think. So you get a loan for 200,000 and maybe pay off 200 euros a month. And there's the part where it gets interesting. You pay 200 euros for 1 year. It's like almost 2,000, 2,400 for 10 years. Then you paid in for like 20,000 cash. Not even 20,000 because the loan gets smaller all the time. And then after 10 years in Germany, you can sell the home tax-free. So
so it's 10 years.
10 years in Germany, yes.
Because I know it's 1 year for like Sachanlagen, for things that you own, like watches and stuff. If it's after 1 year, it's tax-free. Same with crypto at the moment. Hopefully it stays like that. Not too sure.
So yes, in Germany, you can sell it off in 10 years. So if you rent it out. And the thing is, being an employee, the bank, as you said, views you as a better investment opportunity because you have a safe income, safe whatever check. and then you get
Safe.
the loan.
Until there's COVID.
Huh? Till there's
Safe,
COVID.
safe
Till there's
COVID.
AI.
Until there's inflation and they print another 8 trillion. Okay, yes.
Yes.
Carry on.
So that's the point. Yes. And the bank will give you the loan, and as an employee, you can pay it off more easily, more secure. Yes, and that's not that easy for entrepreneurs. In Germany, it's like you have to be in the entrepreneurial space for almost 2 to 3 years before the bank will give you the loan, and you have to make big revenue to get the loan. But once you have your first real estate object, you have like, you finish the game. It's okay, perfect, because
then the value of that real estate then adds to your credit check,
Right.
because you use that as the liability for your next one.
right,
Because then the bank says, if you can't pay for the next
Yeah.
one, we'll take your first house.
yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
So as you said it, perfect. Then you have unlocked the money cheat code, because the bank, even if you're not already paid off the last loan from 200,000, the bank will see it as your home because there's your name on it.
Yes.
So the bank values the credit score 200,000 more. So 2 months, 3 months later, you can buy the next home, the next home, the next home. So back in 2014, there was a guy, my mentor, my real estate mentor knows him. He was working as a normal employee, earning like 3,000 a month. In this single year, or like, let's say 3 to 4 years, he bought 30 homes in Germany with the money of the bank. Now he's a multi-millionaire. And that's the point how you get rich. So 9 out of 10 people in Germany are millionaires by real estate.
Yeah, I think that's also a stat that most millionaires, if you just take 1 million net, that then is asset value. So that's stored assets, and that is mostly real estate, particularly the boomers who bought it for 10K and it's now worth 2 million.
Yes.
But okay, so can you elaborate a bit more on the process of then switching and how short you can make the time frame from, okay, you've got your first place, you've gotten people in there. Secondly, you have the headache of then actually having to deal with people renting a place from you. But 2, how fast can you then turn it around and then scale into the next one and scale into the next one?
Well, I think the right answer for this is it depends. It depends on you. How valuable is your check, your money check. And I think it depends. So as a normal being, I would say, earning like 2,500 to 3,000 a month, you can buy your first home for like 150,000, and then 3 to 4 months later, the next one. But then it gets tricky because you have to pay monthly for the real estate, and then depends on how big your like income is now.
Yeah. Obviously, it depends on how much money you can bring in.
Yeah.
Within how much you can obviously give out. So I want to get into also the idea of multi-family homes. Is that also a thing here in Germany? Because I know it is in the US, where sort of the money cheat code, the real estate cheat code in the US is duplexes and fourplexes and multi-family homes. And then there's special tax exemptions that if you live in the building, then you avoid a lot of additional taxes, which is the same in South Africa. I know if you have one property and you live there, then you don't pay taxes on it. But if you have a second property, you have to pay capital gains tax on the income you get from the rental, which is also a pain in the ass. So how does that then work in Germany? Is that a thing? Because it's not something I've heard of before.
Yeah. So
In Germany, I've heard more of so
Yes. So as I said, I'm not sure how it's America, but in Germany there's like the one-room millionaire. It's because you buy like micro homes in a 30-unit building with like, I don't know, 40 square meters, rent it out and then sell it off like 4 years later. I'm not sure how it is with duplexes and quadruplexes. But one thing I know is that me as an investor, I wouldn't want to live in a home where all my other rental people are, because why do
you just get hassled?
Yeah, why should I live there? So I know that there are big levels to the game in the real estate space. So if you buy a unit you buy a like big house with 30 to 40 units, then it's easier to gain more.
To get a bigger return on investment.
Yeah, it's easier to get a bigger return on investment because you can buy like the 30-unit house and then just increase the monthly rent. I'm using that word because I'm not English real estate agent. You can increase the rent by like €5, but it's 5
multiplied by 40.
by 40. So that's the way it works with the big units, but not everybody can do it. It's like the big.
Yeah, you need a fat bank account or a fat asset portfolio already to put up as leverage in order to get for those places.
So
what?
Closing this thing, it's better in Germany. I think it's almost better because to buy single homes, because you can diversify more easily. You can buy one in Frankfurt, you can buy one in Magdeburg, Munich, so you can diversify. It's more easily to spread your risk.
Yeah, fair point. That's something we can get into risk as well. How do you then go about choosing the different places where you want to? Especially, let's say it's the first home. Not a lot of people are going to go out there and get their first home in Frankfurt or in Munich. Yes. That's just how it works. But then also you don't want to, it's then more risky. You buy a home in, I don't know, Hugelsing, and it's in the middle of nowhere. And it's like, no one then wants to live there. And then you have problems. Then especially if your unit is then not rented out, then you're losing money.
Yes, right. So I think regarding to risk, it depends where you are in the real estate space. If you're starting out, then you can buy a home in Gongweding or whatever, because I think the first home is not that important that it's a really, really good home. It's more important that the bank sees it at your first home. So as we said before, the bank adds 200,000 to your check, and then next home you can buy a more expensive one in Munich or Frankfurt. So that is the way I think. And in Germany, we have the saying, Lage, Lage, Lage. It's like the place where the real estate object is.
That's the US saying is location.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I think risk within the real estate space is very low. So there is no downside of the real estate space because also the bank gives you the money. The home is minimum valuable.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, housing prices don't decrease.
Housing prices don't decrease usually. And also, what I wanted to say is that the bank, kann man das kurz rausschneiden, weil es wichtig ist, das ist wirklich ein wichtiger Schritt. Die Banken geben dir nur so viel Geld, wie das zu Hause wirklich wert ist. So you can't over leverage.
Yeah. So the bank only gives you the actual value of the house on the credit check.
Right. So you can't over leverage, and that's one thing. You don't have any risk because if you go out of money or whatever, the bank just sells your home and you're free. No worries there. And I think that's it. So there's no big risk regarding to buy real estate if you do it right.
Okay. So as a asset value, real estate is often seen as it's good. It's like gold real estate. These are your tangible assets.
Yeah.
Especially for the older generation, they want that thing that they have that they don't touch, that they can call theirs. Isomorphic, lethargy, amalgamation, cataclysm, carcinogenic, conduit, zenith, vehemently, fulcrum, beneficent, malevolent, myopic, candor, ambivalent. I don't even know what the fuck this is. This is where I wanted to get into. This was the way I wanted to get into, which is the risk of real estate is the government fucking yoinking your shit, bro. This is where I'm going with this conversation. Alright, I want to get into tying into the real estate quite nicely, then an amalgamation of one thing that we've seen. We both obviously have followed Andrew Tate quite closely, and we know things that happen in the world, the way the world is currently moving in terms of the agendas they push and how they then silence people who speak against those agendas. So that's something I want to go into, the risk, because that's something I take quite personally, is I don't want to take on the liability of assets that are then fixed and long-term, such as 10 years in a place, one, that I don't know if I'm going to stay here, and we'll get that into that with you as well. And two, that then if I piss the government off enough, they will take it off me. Because I'm not saying I plan on being completely outspoken and being shunned by the government, but I am a very outspoken person just in general, and I fear the way that I see the world heading and the agendas being pushed and how they want to demasculinize men and lift up feminism and push this divide between people. They are breaking the very fabric of what holds society together, that being tradition and that being traditional roles. What is your take on how easily, let's say, Germany could take your assets off of you? How safe do you really think it is?
I think the German government is one of the weakest ones, I would say. I have no other word for it.
They can't get anything done.
No. First of all, they can't get anything done. And second of all, you can piss the government. You can like shout at the government, call them like, I won't say it here, but call them geeks, and they won't do anything, because in Germany you can speak everything.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They've taken freedom of speech to another level.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true. I don't know how it's like if you like a multi-millionaire or billionaire and something, and like share something on social media like German government is the baddest one on the earth, whatever. I don't know how it's done, but I think as a regular person, the government won't take anything from you.
Okay. And then I want to tie that into, obviously you are currently looking at different places where you can live and where you can set up sort of your base of operations in the future. I want to understand what is important for you when you are looking at a country, and more specifically then a city or a town where you want to be. What are the most important factors in order that you look for?
Texas. No, first of all,
The Cook Islands, Cayman Islands.
Yes.
I'm an island boy.
No, I think the quality of life is very important. I think the people that surround you are very important, because it's all about your surroundings, the energy in the country you live in. I think,
and the mindset of the people around you.
People, right?
That's something that annoys me in Germany, is the mindset of people. But yes, carry on.
For sure, it's 100%. So for 100%, I agree with you. And the thing is, I believe in frequencies, energies, and I think the energy is better where the weather is nice. That's one way I think. So Switzerland has a very good energy, I think, because of the mountains and the lakes and something like that. And I think, honestly, I'm not sure what's really important for me. I think accessibility to the rest of the world is also important. So I don't want to live in a third world country, which I have to walk 10 kilometers to get internet access or something. I think I have to find it out. That's why I'm traveling a lot.
Okay, so when you're traveling and you're experiencing different places, what are you specifically looking for? What are you experiencing? What are you trying to uncover about a society, about people's mindsets? What are you looking for in terms of the traits in people's mindsets, and in terms of, because you're obviously, same thing I do. I travel throughout Europe, throughout the world to see, can I live comfortably here? Would this be productive? There's a lot of places that would be amazing to live, but in terms of the network of people, in terms of how much I would actually get done, how productive I could be, would not be the same. So that's one thing that has served me very well here in Germany in the beginning stages, is one, I moved from South Africa, so I got access to the first world from a third world. Two, I moved to a central location in the center of Europe, not on the fucking tip of the world, literally. So it was location for me, able to travel, experience different cultures, but also the German culture, other than me having experienced it before and having German heritage, but because of it being more of an insular society, an isolated society, people very held back in their beliefs, they're not very outgoing as they are in the rest of the world. That also was sort of a perfect amalgamation, a perfect breeding ground for me to focus on myself, focus intrinsically, look within, meditate, get my finances right, develop myself as a person into who I want to become. So that was a good stage for me. But now I'm reaching that stage where I don't believe Germany is my home forever. I will always think of Germany as a part of my home. I will always think of South Africa as a part of my home. South Africa, I love the people, I love the climate. I don't like the politics. I don't like building a business. I don't like being productive there, because it's beaches, it's chill. All of my mates from there are beach bums, people who don't have any drive, people who don't want more to life. They're happy to work for a season, for a summer season, for 3-4 months, work really hard, and then they do nothing for the rest of the year and they just chill on the beach. If that's you, I wish I could be you. I would go crazy. I cannot stay still. I need things to do. I need to work on something. I need to build something of value. So that's what's important to me. But like I said, I'm also getting to that point where I need to see where the next step is. And for me, the people I'm surrounded with, the network, the people I can connect with, people I can call mentors, people I can learn from, that's almost at the top of my list. So one place that stood out to me was south of France, Monaco and Thebes. Those sort of places, the network was amazing, and also beach life for actually relaxing for when I do that once every month. Like places like that. So what do you think, first of all, what's your take on Dubai? Because that's seen as like everyone goes there. It's cool. I would go there for a certain amount of time, but I don't think I would want to move there permanently. And two, the other place for like digital nomads is Bali. But these are all people who don't actually want to build anything. They just go there to their retreat and they work 2 hours on their little drop shipping store consulting, and then they do nothing for the rest of the day.
Yeah. So you asked multiple questions.
Yes.
So
I went on a bit of a rant.
First of all, Dubai. So I've been to Dubai for the second time 2 weeks ago. Looking forward to be this year, next year again in Dubai. And I'm not sure if I would live there. Maybe definitely for a couple of months. Yeah, to meet kind of people building networks there. Because in Dubai is like the incubator for like businesses. So everything in Dubai is like about businesses. You go into a store and there's like a book how to build a business. You will never see it in Germany or something.
Yeah.
And I think for a short period of time, maybe 1 to 2 years, couple of months maybe, it's quite an incubator for your business. But me personally, I wouldn't like to live in Dubai because it's too much frequency, I would say. So it's like quite a frequent city. You can go every evening, enjoy the city, but I think you can also lose focus there.
100%. I think of Dubai the same as I do Miami. Very promiscuous, bro. That's how I view it.
Promiscuous. Yeah. Never heard that word, but I can guess what it is.
Yeah, I'm sure you can.
Okay. I also talked to people living in Dubai. My friend, they're living there, working for like the aerospace there.
Here.
And he said something quite interesting about women in Dubai. So women in Dubai are not like the usual women like in Germany or whatever in Europe. They're like quite competitive to you because they're like people next level that are out of your reach in terms of business success and something like that. So I have a girlfriend, but if you like in Dubai, a single guy, you want to meet a girl, want to date a girl, want to keep a girl, you have to be very competitive. And I think that's one point that will drive me really good because I'm a competitive person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing I want to say I like about Dubai. That is very competitive, but it's not like bad competition. It's good competition.
Yeah, well, it's good competition if you actually want to level up. If you just move there and you're an absolute bum, then you're going to get wrecked and you're going to lose. Yeah, okay. So that's Dubai. So for your plan, I'm very interested because I'm looking at the same thing. I'm tempted to go choose a few different places and stay there for a month, 2 months, or 3 months at a time. Like maybe I'll do south of France for 3 months. Maybe I'll do Dubai for 2 months. Maybe I'll do Cape Town for 3 months. Because also my perception of Cape Town and South Africa in general was from me growing up. I'm a very different man now than I was a year and a half when I moved to Germany. So my perception might be different. And there is a decent network in Cape Town, especially when all the people fly in on their jets and they're in Camps Bay, and then you can go to some sick roof parties. So what's kind of your plan? Are you looking for one place to go, let's say longer term, let's say over a year, or are you also looking to just explore the different corners of the map?
Yeah. So I think in Germany there's a saying, you have Hummeln in your Arsch. That's like you have bees in your ass.
It's like a lovely saying.
That's one thing I have always say because I cannot stay too long in one place, even not in Germany. So I've been in this year, at this point we have April, 15th of April. I've been to 5 countries this year and will be in like 6 to 7 more countries this year because I have bees in my ass. And honestly, I cannot imagine to stay somewhere longer for 1 year, seeing the same things every day.
It gets too monotonous.
Yes. And where's the energy of life in experiencing and seeing new things? There's
to one of my favorite quotes. I forgot who it's by. I need to learn the author, but it says, "How could you live and have no story to tell?"
Right.
A lot of people just go through monotonous day-to-day, same routine, same scene, same people that they don't even like. Let's be honest. Same scenery in Germany. It's fucking grey. It's not conducive to an abundance mindset. It sort of shrinks you down and you have to stay in your little bubble and your little box. So 100% agree with you.
So, and I want to add something there. As you said, I want to stay somewhere maybe for 2 or 3 months to just experience, get to know the people in depth. For real, it's for me, it's a really important thing not to just visit tourist hotspots, but visiting the people that live there, the inhabitants of the country, getting to know the culture, getting to know the rules of the country along the way, and
the spoken rules.
The non-spoken, yes. And that's one point. And the other point is, honestly, I right now, I'm not looking for a space to live because I'm very young and I want to travel. On the one side, I want to build an empire, but on the other side, I want to enjoy my youth. So right now, I'm using my business, my online, not fixed at a point business, to travel around, experience many things, because I'm a little bit spiritual, and there's a certain time we have to live on this planet, and the thing is,
there's certain chapters to life, and I believe you're perspicacious enough to understand that you're in your youth phase and you're in your young chapter where you should explore the map and experience different places. And when you start building your empire, that might require you to be in a fixed location, to be more accountable.
Right.
Yes, carry on.
100%. And I think we come with nothing. So as we come as dust.
We come into the world as nothing and we leave as nothing.
Right. Yeah. So we leave as nothing, but with memories. So, and for me personally, I think it's very important to make the most experiences in life, bad ones and good ones. I'm here to live, not to experience the good ones. So,
very good point.
And I want to see the world. That's one thing. So I travel around, yes, to look at places to live, but also
to just up the experience. And what do you believe is the main benefit from experience, from traveling to different places?
I think life is all about sharing information, sharing experiences. So go on a biological...
Interesting, I'm going to come back to that.
Yeah, go on a biological level. So one cell splits into another and shares information got it from the planet.
From the past,
From the past, yes. And I think I want to gain as much experience as I can to share with humanity, to share with my kids, with my family, because there's a saying, I've heard it like 2 days ago, it's quite interesting, I will go into that. If a tree falls in a forest, does it make a sound? Scientifically, yes. But if no one's there to listen, is it really there? So I think experience is nice, but I think the value in experience is sharing the experience.
Okay, that's a very interesting point. And also, don't go through life just being in your own bubble, and when you die, you're going to be replaced by your company within a week.
Right.
And you're going to have made no sound, you're going to have made no greater impact to society, to your loved ones. All right, so another thing I want to get into is the whole idea of networking and sales, because that's really where your journey started, and I believe you probably saw the most growth, as I did personally. Before we get into that, I want to ask about the Telegram channel. That's something that I've noticed between you and Nikita, which I've come across before with bigger influencers, but why? Is it just you feel the need to, like you said, share information and pass information on to people who are like-minded, or is it a sales funnel?
Well, I think honestly it's both, because I know how it was like starting out with no information at all and to give as much free value as you can. Because where's the point in saying, I've carried our e-commerce stuff from 100K a month to 1 million a month, and saying something like that, but giving no free value. So I give the most free value as I can, so that people that see this can say, okay, Luca's interesting, he fits my style, I want to learn from him. What further information does he have? I want to start with him. So I think it's a win-win situation, because the people see what I can give them, and that I have a sales funnel, and also helping people.
Yeah, it's very good for prospecting. And something I want to get into is networking in particular, because that's something I believe that you are very good at. Whether it's naturally or whether it's learned is what I want to understand. How do you go about networking? Let's say you have certain people, like when we were in the cigar lounge, and there's prominent people who park their Ferrari outside, and you know they have a investment company, a real estate investment company. How do you go about cold approaching? Do you go from a tactical approach, like first touch point, just get seen in the right places, then reach out, see if they respond? How do you go about building up your network, one, as the first question, and the follow-up question to that would then be, how do you actually make your network useful? Because there's a lot of people who bump into or have numbers of people who can provide value, but actually using those contacts is a whole different story.
Yeah. I think the thing with networking is it's not like how to approach people, it's more like, what is your reputation? So there's quite interesting viewpoints you have to admit when you network. So the first thing is how to get to know people that drive a Ferrari. You can take your car and drive into theirs, and then you get to know each other.
And involve the police, why not?
No, just joking around. But
Ja, wenn man eine gute Haftpflichtversicherung hat, dann passt.
yeah. That's good, you can try it. But first of all, I think there's one mindset you have to shift into. There's a German saying that jeder zieht seine Hosen morgens gleich an. So everybody puts his trousers on the same way every morning. And I think that's one way I approach people, with respect, but also like just a normal guy. And hey, I know you have a big company, but you're a normal guy like me. What does it make? What makes you more valuable than me? Like, let's say this. And I think that's one way I approach people, especially in the cigar lounges. That's one way you can meet like high-level people, because within the cigar lounges, I don't know if it's like a tradition or something, but all people smoking cigars are so open to the world. It's crazy. So you can literally go into a fucking community, sit in there, smoke a cigar at the corner of the room, then somebody enters the room and you can shout across the room, hey, nice to meet you. Let's have a nice session with cigar. And the person will, if he wants, speak with you like for 2 hours. You get to know him, you get to know him. This is crying cheat code.
100%. And it's something I have been preaching since I started smoking cigars over a year ago. It is a networking cheat code, because the art of smoking a cigar, you have to relax. It's a meditative state. It's not like a cigarette where you can puff and it quickly. It's, you have to relax. You have to control your breathing. You have to wait 45 seconds to a minute 30 between puffs. You have to be in that state. And the whole idea of a cigar, the length of a cigar, is a conversation that you are committing to. If it's a long cigar, you will be there for an hour and a half. But me, I'm a slow smoker, 2 hours. And that is, you are committing to being in a conversation with whoever is there for that amount of time. And that's a universal rule amongst people in cigar lounges. And second, like you said, treating people as people. Everyone is a normal person. I have gone into that Kempinski cigar lounge at least 25 times with the goal of just experiencing a new cigar and understanding it. And I have ended up sitting next to 3 people. I've met a Bulgarian mafia boss. I've met people with real estate portfolios. I've met wealth fund managers. And they're just standard people out of nowhere. And all, cheat code, all the most interesting people will be the most plainly dressed.
Right.
That is definitely a cheat code. Yeah. No, but that was always my cheat code. And then I met someone with an Apple Watch on. And then I sat with him because there was no table yet. And then we started talking about it. And then he noticed my watch and it was like, okay, we got into watches. And then he was like, no, whenever I'm in Europe, I don't wear my nice watches because it's the same as like London, Paris, Germany, Munich, I trust a bit more, but he didn't. Ended up being like getting into the conversation. Oh, he has 8 piece uniques from Vashel. And I'm like, brother, what? 2 seconds later comes down, brings his entire watch roll, network, everything sorted, patented up. That's another part that I want to get into, is how to actually then not only build up your network, but actually utilize it to its fullest. How would you go about, first of all, keeping in contact with people? Because you have to obviously touch base more often than just once if you then want to, let's say, build up a business relationship or come to them with an offer or whatever you want to do, whatever opportunities you want to bring to that person and provide your value. How do you go about that?
Yeah. So I think there's a really important point I learned from Tadeusz Koroma. He's a German entrepreneur. He's like a black guy. He slept on his mother's couch for several years and something, and wanted to make a basketball career or something. But now he's like really successful entrepreneur. And he has a YouTube channel, very valuable. And he teaches how to network. And he said one very important thing for me: you don't build your network for yourself, but you build a network for your network. So I think the smartest way how to use your network and how to utilize it is to connect people. Not to connect yourself with people, but to connect people with people. Hey, you do this, I know him, I would connect you. And the way other people network is the same way. So if you have a good reputation, if you don't lie, if you're on point, if you like keep your word and something like that, other people see you as reputative, I think that's the word. And they will connect you to another.
Reputable.
Yeah. So, and I think how to utilize your network, that's one way.
Because that's also providing value when you are connecting different people who can help solve a problem.
Right.
And another thing that I've done, which is also touching on not just being surface level about actually providing some value or showing that you understand the person at a deeper level, like with whatever they do, is if it's a younger person and you have socials and you see for instance, I have a friend who started a new project and he launched a website, and I went onto his website and then I gave him critical feedback. I just messaged him out of the blue. I was like, hey, I saw your website, amazing stuff that you're doing, but I believe your website isn't as good as it could be. This is what I would change. This is the experience I have in the past from designing websites. These are your competitors. Look what they have done here. You could integrate that quite nicely. Have a nice day. Bang, done. And that's when you get the best response, because particularly people who think like us, I mean, you've probably experienced it as well. You get compliments, surface level compliments from random people. They're like, oh, well done, or oh, great video, or oh, like good Instagram post. Is like, okay, cool, thanks. It's not really like, it's not useful. But if someone then gives you constructive criticism and tells you something that can improve your business or your personal brand or whatever you want to improve, that then becomes useful, and that then it's like a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Then that person shows their value, and that creates a much bigger connection.
Right.
That's something that I found that has been amazing. Another thing I want to get into is your why. We touched on it in Kempinski a little bit, but why do you feel this desire to build this empire that you're speaking about? Why do you feel the need to experience different corners of the map? Why do you feel the need to share the information with your future family? All of these, your top goals. Have you ever delved into, you're quite a spiritual person, have you ever delved into the deeper reasons?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, today is Wednesday. 2 days ago on Monday, I held a 2-hour presentation on my wife. So, yes.
Give us a quick summary.
I dive deep into it. So, quick summary. I think we have to go back to my childhood. So, I had a very nice family. I have a very nice family. So, my dad is providing my family. We have no like financial crisis or something. But at the age of 5, I experienced something. My 2 brothers were born. I have siblings. I have brothers. And as a single child at the age of 5, all the attention is on you. And that's with my brothers, all the attention went to them. And from one day to the other day, all the attention was gone. And let's imagine for 5 years, a child gets every attention it gets from grandpa, whatever. And from day to day, it switches back. Gone. And at that point, I didn't have any like big friends back in the days. Also through my school career, I don't have any big friends, so shortfall of my childhood. And that's one reason why I always worked with myself, learned new things. I can do like 26 different Rubik's Cubes. There's all the magic cubes where you can shift colors and something, 26 different. Back in the days, I could plenty of magical tricks with cards because I had too much time with me. And that went into my apprenticeship as well, because that's the time when I started to go to gym and self-improvement phase and something like that. And I think there are different reasons why. So I have to go into the first one. It's developed over time. One reason why I want to do it is because I want to show the people that didn't believe in me back in the days, that weren't my friends, that I can reach those things and they couldn't, they don't. That's a big ego thing, I think. It's good ego.
It's competitiveness.
It's competitiveness, yes, but they're not compared with me. And the other thing is that my father, that's one of my big reasons why. My father was 10 years old, and his father died back then. So he had a heart attack at age 55. And so my dad never had a father. And my dad told me one day, Luca, I will support you, do whatever you like to do. But one thing, I want to sit on your yacht, put in my feet in the water, and just chill. And one of my biggest reasons why is I want to have this big yacht before my father dies. Because he never had a father, and I think it's one of the most beautiful things for a father to provide for his children. And yeah, my father's now 56, so he's over the level. His father died, so it's quite okay. But I think my father is one of my biggest humans in life, because I had no friends back in the day, so my father was a really important figure to me back in the day. So I wanted to give him all I have and provide for him.
Yes, so it's that sense of providing, but then have you asked, why do you feel that need to provide for your father? So you have this conversation that was obviously a very deep conversation where he told you that's something that he wants, and you felt the obligation, the duty to go out and make that happen and provide for him. But do you then ask yourself, why do you feel the need to do that?
I think it's not a need. I think it comes from my inside, I would say, from my being, I think.
But that's what I want to analyze. What is that being inside?
My being inside, why I want to provide for my dad. Well, I don't want to provide for my dad. I see him coughing all the time because of the construction work he does. And that's really what I'm worried about, that he's dying soon, whatever. And I think time is running out. So I think there is no big why I want to provide for him, but it's one goal I set to myself, this yacht before my dad dies. So it's quite interesting that I say my dad is going to die soon or something. He's not.
But it's a reality. Everyone's going to die.
Right.
Everyone you hold close to you will die, or you die first.
But
it's an eventuality.
Right. I would refer to a game. Let's say I have to achieve this before time runs out. And I think this is not the pressure on me. I think that's positive pressure, I would say. So I can talk about this like very lightly because I talk about this often. Back in the days, I used to cry at this point, but now it's okay with me. And maybe I can't provide the story too emotionally because I talk about it a lot, but it's really important to me to maybe, let's say, get really successful at some point for my dad to be
proud.
To be proud of me. I don't need, but it's a nice addition.
Okay, so that's very interesting. And for the people watching, you might not be able to see it on the camera, but these are the beautiful moments that I love in these podcasts. I could see the glint in your eye and the little water buildup. And you can see that when it really gets to these emotional levels. And I hope that comes across, because I had the exact same moment. Shaq can attest to it behind the camera when he was interviewing me on Mindset. And I had the same realization where, I don't know if you watched it, but I said, my deepest reason why is having to then look my mother in the eye and tell her that I failed as a man and I could not provide the life that she wanted and the life that she deserves because she was such a brilliant mother to me. And that idea of the people closest to you dying, that is such a good motivator, because you realize you only have a limited amount of time. Too many people our age fall into the trap. Oh, we're young. Oh, enjoy yourself. Don't work too hard. You have a limited time frame. You have a limited time span on this earth, and I have things that I want to achieve. Yes, I'm happy. Yes, I'm proud, but I'm not done. So there's so many things that I still need to do.
I think I want to add something to this. I want freedom, but not for myself. I have freedom, but for my future children. So my dad gave me everything in my childhood, so I was not a rich kid or something, but he provided very well for our family. And I would want myself to give the same things to my children, to my family in the future. And I define freedom that I have like crazy amounts of money to make money not important, but unimportant. Like people say money's not important, but work like 8 hours for a day. And I want to make money unimportant, that my children can work whatever they like to. So my daughter can be a nurse. My youngest son can be like crawling dogs or something, and petting dogs, whatever, the whole day. I don't care. But he has to do it because of the freedom, not because of he needs the money. You know, that's one thing. And the other thing is that the rich doesn't make you happy, but happy makes you rich. And I think in order to be happy, I mean, you need freedom at some point.
Hey there, Luca. So, as you may know, in our podcast formats where we have guests on, it starts off with other Luca introducing the guest and starting off, and then I carry on with the second round of questions. Now, pivoting straight back into what you were talking about, something that you mentioned that really captivated me listening to your entire story, which it takes a really brave person to really come out and talk about so openly, is you mentioned the fact that the story would make you emotional. There were times where you'd even cry while telling it. Well, in relations to that, what would you consider as manhood? Do you believe that a man is somebody who is more vulnerable, more emotionally available? Do you believe that you need to be calculated with what you do? Could you elaborate on that?
Yes. So I think I believe in souls, that I'm not a man, you're not a man, and that a woman is not a woman. So we are just souls living in a human body, and you can shift it the way you act, I would say. So you cannot provide for somebody like a man energy. You have to listen to somebody like a woman energy. But you have to, if you like, you refer back to manhood, how to act as a man and stuff like that. We can talk about this in detail. I believe in manhood, yes. I believe it's okay to show your emotions, but it's okay to cry. It's okay to be emotional, but not like it's okay to be weak or something. I think it's more it's allowed to show emotions, but you have to stand your man, I would say. As a man, you're required to be strong, to provide for your family. So one very famous person said, like, who do you send to war? It's like the men. Who do you want to protect by men? So like there's like police officers to women and to men, and you cry for help. You want the men to come, especially because like maybe there's intruder in your home. You don't want like women to come because like the men obviously physically not against women are stronger and biologically there for war.
That's a really interesting perspective. I've never heard anybody talk about it from the viewpoint of energies. And so I'd just like to confirm, so you believe that you adapt your energy based on different situations? So there's times that call for you being emotionally available, and there's times that call for you just being an absolute G.
So as I said, I think you can go if you want in your more women energy, and then you can go back to your more like man energy. So if you go to war, like in business, you have to speak on stage, you have to execute some sales, you have to do this, then you go more into your like man energy. Women can do this also. And if you provide for your family, if you like private, if you like in love with somebody, like love is something feminine, then you go back into your feminine energy. Because as I said, I believe in souls, I believe in energy. I'm not my body, I'm my soul. And that's why I can shift my energies the way I needed to.
That's a really incredible viewpoint. And just to add to this, something really interesting that I saw, I think it was Trey Cockram. He's an online mentor and coach for sales. He's built up a lot of sales teams, etc., very successful. And something that he mentioned is the feminine energy in a field such as sales is very interesting, because you see, women are a lot more inclined to follow their gut feeling. They're a lot more instinctual. They're a lot more protective. And they have that sort of instinct to let them know when something just isn't right. Meanwhile, as a man, I'm sure you look at things a lot more logically. You look at things as in, okay, this is A, B, C, and D. These are what I get out and what I get in. And the gut feeling doesn't come into play as much. So do you also access this sort of energy that you speak of?
Right. So especially in sales, it's very important to access your manly energy and also feminine energy, because like if you're calling with a prospect, so you have to find out his problem, then sell your service and something. You cannot listen to him. He tells you his problem. You say, okay, you have to fix this. Let's go.
Yeah.
You cannot do this. You have to move more into the feminine energy. Oh, nice. Oh, no, I understand you. Oh, perhaps I have the solution for your problem. Let's go.
Yeah.
So that's why, because you have to be the master of your energies.
100%. And you have to really control your frame, so to say. You have to know when to sort of press the pedal a little bit. You need to know when to step back.
Right.
And that's something that I've noticed just in conversation with you. You know exactly when to drive the conversation. You know when to ask questions. And it's a really admirable trait. You also retreat. You sit back and you fully listen to what the person opposite from you is saying. And would you say that this is a fundamental skill that's really helped you throughout your journey?
Right. 400%. Because if you execute on task, you have to be in your man energy. And I think to be a really good person in sales and in community and networking, you have to be in your feminine energy. Because what do feminine energies do? Listen. You don't have to be like a good speaker to be successful in communities. You have to be the best listener. And what are the best listeners? People with feminine energy.
100%. I mean, we have 2 years and 1 month for a reason.
Right.
We're meant to listen more than we speak.
Yeah. So, and I think the whole point in this energy thing is to be the master of your energies and not be mastered by your energies. Because a lot of men's and young boys are like managed by their emotions and by their energies instead of managing and mastering their emotions.
Be in charge of your emotions. Don't let them drive you. That is an incredible point. And something I'd also like to ask is, you're mentioning energies and you've also mentioned that you're a spiritual person. Could you tell us more about that? What does that look like?
Yes. So I think one thing I have to set right, I believe nothing. Everything everybody tells me, I believe nothing. I try it out for myself and see how it works. So I think the spiritual thing is like, we can do a whole podcast around it. But I think doing the scratch, yes, I'm very spiritual. I don't believe I'm my body. So I can do a quick test with you. So are there like times where you're really sad?
Yeah, 100%.
100%. Are there times where you're like really angry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Natural human emotions.
Right. So I think there are like times where also you are like really, really tired or angry or something. And at this specific point, you as a human being feel like your whole body shaking when you're angry, like, this is not gonna work. And the most people, and this is a very important point I learned like 3 to 4 months ago, at this specific point, you believe you are your emotion. I am angry, I am sad, I am happy. But the thing is, if you would be really your emotion, if the angry is gone, you would be gone as well, right?
100%.
But you're there. So what do we learn from this? You are not your emotion, you're not your thoughts, and you're not the things you feel. You're not this. You're like more than this. You're like the soul, the energy that came to like the world to incarnate here, to experience the body, the human being, and living the life.
That's very interesting. And would you say that that's sort of your higher self, the being of energy, this vast spiritual bank that you tap into? So we're talking about energies and, masculine energy, feminine energy, as well as the energies that you feel pertaining to emotions. Would you then call these energies your higher self? Is this something that you look up to? Do you believe that this is like the true form of what you really are?
I would say I have to experience it. So I'm not like the almighty one, or I know everything. I would say I have to experience it to give you the answer. I wouldn't say that my energies, my feminine energy or my masculine energy are my higher selves. As I said, these are just body things, mind things I can control, but it's not me. Because I can be my women energy, but if my women energy is gone, I'm still there.
Yeah.
So everything you can look at, that's not you.
And this also ties into the whole idea of scarcity mindset and the idea of abundance. You've put yourself in a position where you are rather than you need to be.
Yeah.
You have these energies. You don't need these energies. You don't need to feel something. You tap into that feeling.
Yes, I choose to be, because many people are like really rich in material things like money and big homes and villas and everything, but they're not free because they're controlled by their body, by their emotions. Like, many people that are rich are not happy. It's true, but many people that are not rich are also not happy. And that's what I said in the beginning. Rich doesn't make you happy, but happy does make you rich. So you have to be free in the inside, free from emotions, free from worrying and something like that, to be rich.
Okay, and speaking on that freedom, what is your definition of freedom? Is it time, location, money freedom, freedom of the mind? Which one do you believe it is?
Yes, right. I think there's two different spectrums of freedom, like the outer freedom and the inner freedom, as I said. So the outer freedom is like the obvious ones. I can travel where I want, when I want, where I want, with whom I want. And I think locational freedom, but as I said, also internal freedom. So if you can travel where you want, but on the inside you have depression, you're not happy and something like that, then you're not free either. Freedom for me is like both things, like the first of all on the outside and the second in the inside. So you can be in like a prison, but you can meditate all the time and be free on the inside. But there's no point in being free on the inside if you're not free on the outside. So
100%.
that's the whole point of getting successful and happy at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of freedom and meditation, do you sort of believe in visualization? Do you have a visualization procedure that you go through?
Yes, so many people believe in manifestation, visualization. For myself, I visualize in my head. And for manifestation, there's a really interesting thing. So nice that you asked. Many people make a vision board, like posting photos on the wall and something like that. And I think one of my mentors told me this, and I highly believe in it. If you have something in your mind, everything we have around us, this microphone that turns like this sound waves into electronic and it amplifies into my voice and something like that. Everybody once in a time imagined this. Everybody like touching this table, touching you, touching your whatever. This was in the mind of a person and it manifested into the real world. So what's the point about manifesting and how to do it? Really simple. You have like a goal in your head. I want to reach 100K a month, 100K a year. I want to have this specific car at this time. So the first step I manifest is I take a piece of paper and I write the thing down I want. So, but not I want, I write it down, I have this car, I earn this much money, I have this house, whatever. And the thing is with writing it down, it's you bring your thought the first time from the spiritual world and the real world so you can touch it. So if you can touch it, that's the first step into manifesting because it's already there in the real world. Now you have to materialize it just. That's the way how I manifest.
That's incredibly amazing. And again, it's that abundance mindset. I have this, I am this, rather than I need this.
I want to add something to this because that's a really interesting point. Many people believe manifestation is like, I want this, I get this. But you just get this what you are. So that's why the richest keep getting richer, because they are rich. So what you attract, the thing you are. And the poor people attract poorness because they are poor. They think I am poor. And that's why they manifest poorness. And the thing is with I want this, you also say I don't have this, right? So what do you get? Not what you want, that you have. So if you say I want this, I don't have this, you don't get this. And the thing is, if you say I have this car, you get what you are, you get this car. And that's really important.
That's an absolutely beautiful way of putting it across. Thanks for sharing. And I'd just like to add to it because I'm a Muslim man, and it's so interesting to me because while I am religious, I am also somebody who believes in a spiritual strength. See, in our religion too, we believe that there's three sort of healths. There's your physical health, there's your mental health, and there's your spiritual health. And in regards to that, I'm somebody who really has looked into it, and I'm really intrigued by the whole idea of the soul, the mind, the spirit, and how visualization plays into that. And just tying into that, you talk about energies and the spirit, etc., etc. And we fully believe that this body, like you said, is not yours to keep. This is not your body. There's the whole idea of my mind, my body. No, this body is a gift bestowed upon you for you to experience the test that we call this world. And that's why I find this analogy really profound, because I don't think it's even intentional for it to overlap and mix with other ideologies and religions. But in that way, I can tell that you're a really well brought up person. And I'd just like to thank you for sharing that. So pivoting from there, I'd like to ask, I've realized that you are an incredibly respectful person from the first time I met you. I think just to set the scenario, we're sitting in Kempinski. And I think it's either I sneezed or other Luca sneezed. And no, I definitely sneezed. And you said to me, Yarhamukallah, which is sort of like a bless you in Islam, in the Arabic language, which I was completely taken back by. I was not expecting somebody to have that level of respect towards me and towards my beliefs and my faith. And could you elaborate on that? How do you view respect?
I think respect is for one of the main characteristics one should have, because if there's no respect in a conversation, there's no point in the conversation.
100%.
And I think there's a saying: if there's no respect at the table, leave the table. And I think, how should I elaborate? Respect is one of the first points of communicating. Without respect, you cannot communicate on a proper level.
Mm-hmm. And also tying into respect, what would you call your core beliefs? What are things that you try to live by every single day? I can tell clearly respect is one of them. Could you elaborate more?
Yes. So the thing is, I live by day is I'm a man of my word. So if I say something, I'm going to do something. And I think being truthful, so I always tell the truth. Being on point, I'm sometimes I'm really straightforward. I tell people not what they want to hear, but what they need to hear. Especially because I'm a mentor. I think that's one way. And I think adaptability is one thing. So you cannot speak to the person A that you can speak to the person B. So you have to be adaptable to their energy, because as I tell, we speak through energies. So little example there. Many people tell me, Luca, I can't listen to this podcast because I'm driving my car. I can't listen to it because I can't remember anything. And the point is there, you talk through energies, and I think adapting the right energy, that's talking to people. So I can talk in a really sad voice with you, and I can talk in a really angry voice with you. And
tonality changes everything.
Even wenn ich deine Sprache nicht spreche. Do you understand what I say? Because people talk in energies, not in words. That's really important. So the words are like the shaping of the energy. And that's one thing I live by, talking to the right energy. And I think being respectful, yes.
The next thing that I would like to pivot into is being somebody who's had experience in the entrepreneurial world for up to 3 years now. What are some of the misconceptions that you face about being an entrepreneur?
First of all, I had to, and I don't understand the question. What are misconceptions?
So, for example, I'm just going to restart this whole point. Okay. Being somebody who has been in the entrepreneurial space for up to 3 years now, I'd like to find out about some of the nuances and some of the misconceptions that people have about entrepreneurs. So, for example, somebody will look at somebody saying, I'm going to drop out of school to be an entrepreneur. And they sort of think, okay, he's being stupid. He's being selfish. He's not thinking about the people around him. Have you faced these misconceptions?
I think some misconceptions are that entrepreneurship is... I have to find a word. Entrepreneurship is not easy. There's a saying in Germany that is the word, okay, because why it's so easy, why wouldn't it do everybody? So I would say it's not easy. It's in fact very emotional hard, physical hard, less sleep, especially in the beginning, but it's simple. I think it's not easy, it's difficult, but it's simple. So you have to just execute step 1 to 10 maybe, and then you're there. And if it does not work, try it again. So it's not easy, it's hard, but it's simple. That's one thing. I think many people have the misconception that rich people are like assholes or something. I think there are like poor assholes as well as there are like rich assholes. Money is like an amplifier of your emotion, of your like human being. If you're an asshole before, then you will be a bigger asshole with money. But if you were like a good Samarita, you'll be an even bigger one with money. So that's one point. And another big misconception about entrepreneurship, I think it's that many people think that people are happy with money. So as I said before, they have the freedom on the outside, they can travel where they want, they go, but maybe people are not free on the inside. And I think that's one point many people miss there regarding to entrepreneurship, that everybody is free. I think entrepreneurs can be as stupid as normal employees. So I think there is no big difference between them, but there are like intelligent employees that are free on the inside, and there are entrepreneurs that are free on the inside. So I think it's a choice of life, entrepreneurship. You have to decide very well because it's very hard. And I think maybe in another life I would be totally okay with being an employee, because it's being hard sometimes to be an entrepreneur.
And something really interesting that John Gabb says, one of my mentors, is that everything is hard and you know exactly what you need to do. But really, the difference between winners and losers are the people who can sit down and do it. The knowledge is there. Everything is there for you to be able to achieve what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
But you can take the route in which you don't make waves. You don't make a difference in anything. And it's really interesting to hear that you're okay with that. Why do you say that? In another life, I wouldn't mind being an entrepreneur.
Because I think in another life, as I said, we are souls on energy coming back to the earth maybe. I want to experience different things. So I will experience different things as a young entrepreneur as I would as a young employee maybe. So I think it depends on your why. If you're okay to be mediocre, if you're okay to be average, then be employee. Why not? Go to your work 8 hours a day, come home, sit on your couch, watch TV, and this every day. If it's okay for you, why not? So I'm very often in contact with normal people, employees, because I do real estate sales for employees. So I think it's very okay. And without these people, I wouldn't have my business, you know? So I think it's like yin and yang. There has to be equal things, entrepreneurs and employees. So I think there's no bad point in being employee. Me personally, I prefer being freely and being entrepreneur. And yes.
Definitely. And there's a saying that in the world, there's two types of people. There's producers and there's amplifiers. And you sort of need both of them. You need both of them to have harmony. You need people who create and you need people who amplify, people who repeat and resonate.
Yeah.
Relating to some of the hardships that you've spoken about as being an entrepreneur, something that I've seen quite a bit is a lot of entrepreneurs talking about not having time for interpersonal relationships. Now, you've mentioned that you have a girlfriend and you're somebody who likes to spend time with family, etc., etc. So how do you manage your time in regards to interpersonal relationships?
Yes, right. So I would say everybody has 24 hours a day. So there is like the same timetable to everybody, but people manage it differently. And me personally, I have like set hours where I work and set hours where I have like private time with my girlfriend, enjoying gym and something like that. So I think that's very important to have a work-life balance. But for me, work-life balance is not like working 6 hours a day and like the other 18 hours enjoying like my life at the beach or something. I think it's both. I think it's the accumulation.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
both with working and enjoying private life. So I think setting strict rules and setting strict lines where you can't go over, I think that's the whole point in the balance. Because like Elon Musk, I don't know how his private life is, but he also has 24 hours a day. He manages to be able to be the richest man on the planet, manage 3 different big companies and also have family and a wife and a kid and something, you know? So I think it's possible at some place and everybody has to find itself routine.
Definitely. And in terms of drawing those lines where you need them, how do you enforce that? How do you keep that up over the long run?
I think discipline. Because discipline and adaptability. So I think first of all, the willing to keep it up. Second, discipline to keep it up. And I think the third one, adaptability, because there are times that you have to work more, especially if you're in a new project, learning new things, especially if you want to have things fast. And there are times that are not like this big work amount, and then you can enjoy maybe more time with your family. But as an entrepreneur, you have to diversify between self-employed and being entrepreneur. Self-employed are the most people at the beginning of their career. So self-employed people do not have that much time, but entrepreneurs do have, because entrepreneurs employ other people to work for them to leverage their time so they have more time with their family. So the goal is from being self-employed to going to entrepreneur.
And in terms of discipline, we actually have an entire episode on discipline. What's your view on discipline? Do you believe in the carrot, which is the outcome that you want to get, or is it more of the stick, which is forcing yourself into a certain bracket to do something?
Yes, I think about discipline, the same with emotions. only your mind tells you, oh, I don't like to do it, I'm tired, I'm sick, I'm not happy enough, whatever. And I think if you rely on motivation, there is no point in having discipline. But if you rely on discipline, that means you control your emotions, or you're not controlled by your emotions. I think that's one way. And me personally, if I set myself a goal, I say, okay, there is this task I have to do, regardless of how I feel, because I'm not my feelings.
A lot of food for thought there. The whole idea of detaching from your feelings. And it's something that really cool that you rooted out. That's only a feeling. I don't want to do it is only a feeling. And do you leverage your feelings to push you in discipline?
Yes. So I would say yes, because some people like detach from their feelings, and then they have no feelings at all. And then like, okay, I'm chill. I don't have feelings. I want to do something, but I'm chill. But the way I use my feelings, that's what I said. You can manage and use your feelings, and not get used by your feelings. Is like, get fucked up. I have the biggest motivation, biggest energy if I get fucked up. If I'm not being hateful, but feeling emotion and then channel it into my business.
It's sort of that failure, People say that flow state is real success, but if you think about it, the biggest stages of growth are when you fall down, when you think you have control over what you're doing, but really you don't. You lose control. And that motivates you and pushes you to the next level, teaches you to improve, so to say.
I think, yes, there are certain points where you fall back to those points where you get, if you want or not, this motivation. But I think, me personally, I use my feelings this way, that I think, okay, I have no energy for this right now. What can I get fucked up on? So, do I like my house I live in? Do I like my car I drive? Did I achieve this and this and this? Yes or not? So it's black or white. If I didn't achieve it, I get fucked up. I really... and then I channel my like emotions into my business, and then I have, boom, full energy.
You're realizing that you're getting a bit complacent. You're not content with what you have. I mean, you're content, but you're not satisfied. There's a difference between the two of them.
And then it's like a really important detail you have to mention, because there you have to manage that you are not angry, because then you get angry things manifested, but use your angriness to channel into your business. But your spiritual insight stays calm.
You don't operate from a place of anger.
Yes.
You channel that anger and use it and
utilize it, yes.
100%. And how would you balance victory with the rest of your emotions? How do you celebrate your wins and the good times?
I think celebrating at some point is very important. Me personally, I don't feel like celebrating my goals, because I think for me it's certain that I reach my goals. Why should I celebrate something that's certain? I think celebrating for me personally is like birthday. I don't celebrate my birthdays anymore, because it's certain for me. Okay, at this point I get this, and nice, I'm there. And I think it's the same with my goals. I'm this certain that I reached this goal at maybe this point, that I don't need to celebrate, because all the time I knew I will get this done. So I think celebrating is okay. I celebrate with maybe a vacation, keeping myself back maybe for 1 to 2 days, but then I keep going, because I think there's no big point in celebrating if you don't feel like it.
So would you say you're somebody who's more inclined towards private victories? You don't really announce your victory to the world?
Yes. So also one thing, I don't say anything that's not sure, because I've experienced in the past, if I say anything that's not sure, I won't get it. It's like a law. If I say anything that's not sure, I won't get it.
And it ties back to you saying that you value honesty above all. You're an honest person, and you tell things as they are. You're not going to talk about something that you don't have. You're not going to play a poker face.
Yeah, right.
And further on the whole topic of emotions, spirituality, private victories, etc., what is your relationship with mental health? Being somebody who has gone into the entrepreneurial space at such a young age, 17 is really a time when you're still developing, you're still learning. And I truly believe we are still developing and learning as young men. You only stop growing when you're like 30. But how have you dealt with your mental health? Has that been a challenge or a roadblock for you?
Yes. So I think, especially in the first years of my entrepreneurial venture journey, it was quite interesting, my mental health, because back in the days, I took a lot of ashwagandha, so I don't feel emotions at all.
But how about ashwagandha?
Yes, because back in the days, I had to work an early shift, dude. It started at 6 a.m. in the morning, so I had to get up at like 4 a.m. in the morning. And I think I went to bed at 2 a.m. in the morning or 1 a.m. in the morning. So I had like 3 to 4 hours sleep, like for half a year, 1 year. And I had a discipline to get it through it. And I think at the point of 17, 18 years old, especially if you don't know anything about mental health, you don't think of it. So as I said, the same example there, if a tree falls in a wood and makes a sound, yes, but if it's no one there to listen, is it really there? So if I don't know anything about mental health, is there really mental health? Yes, you know what I mean?
100%.
So-
I mean, it's only in your perspective of what you have. If you don't understand the nuances behind feeling
Yeah.
depressed, if you don't understand the nuances behind burnout, say, for example, when I deal with burnout, I realize that I'll stop doing things that I need to do. I will stop organizing my calendar. I will stop washing the dishes. I won't make my bed. My clothes and laundry will be in a mess.
Yeah.
These are things about burnout that you wouldn't think much about otherwise. You'd just be like, I'm just tired. But when you learn that it's burnout, you start diagnosing the problem.
Yeah.
And something that I really firmly believe in is that prescription without diagnosis is complete malpractice. If you don't understand what you're dealing with, there's no way you can deal with it.
Yeah, right. Yes. But going on my journey, I realized there's like something like burnout or something like that. First of all, I don't believe really in burnout. I've never experienced a burnout, so I cannot tell it sure. But I think back in the days, medieval ages, men went into war for like 6 years, fighting, losing like fingers and hands or something, and keep going on fighting. And they didn't know what's burnout, so they didn't have any. And the second thing is, there's a saying in Germany, I don't know how it's in English, but a healthy man wants everything, but an ill man just wants one thing, to be healthy again. So me personally, I rank my health at a very, very high level because I'm not doing my business because I want to do my business. I do my business because I utilize it to be healthy and happy. So if I'm not happy or healthy, where's the point in hustling my business, you know?
You have to take care of number one in order to take care of everything else.
Right.
Just on this whole journey that you've faced with certain emotional trials, with certain physical trials and challenges to your mental health, I'd like to ask, how has your identity developed in your entrepreneurial journey? How have you grown as a person?
Yes, I think me personally, I don't feel like any different to when I was 17. But I think from the outside, I've improved a lot in terms of speaking qualities, in terms of knowledge. And I think especially in terms of how strong I am. So there were times sitting in front of my bank where I have my money, sitting in front of my car crying because I cannot access any of my bank accounts and crying about that stuff. And referring to this time, I think I'm very strong. So I'm not stressing about anything. I learned that I'm not my emotions. I'm not yet there where I want to be personally or spirituality, but I think that's one way I improved. I think it's mostly knowledge, and I think execution of this knowledge that I improved, and knowing the people, knowing many, many people in different spaces, doing podcasts. Back in the days, I never imagined doing a podcast in English. And
There we are.
now I'm sitting here with you and doing podcasts. So I think growth is exorbitant if you do it the right way.
And has there been a sort of point in your journey where you've sort of felt like you were doing something, you were pursuing a certain goal, and you felt like, this isn't me. I need to hit the brakes. This doesn't really align with what I am. This doesn't align with what I do.
Yes, for sure. It was back in the days when I did my apprenticeship. Because first of all, it was in 2019. It was all about like, I learned aircraft mechanic. I used to repair and build like fighter jets for the Civil Air Force in Germany. And first of all, I was really like into the technical things. And I want to learn everything about it. I wanted to build myself a plane and whatever. And as over the years, like 1 or 2 years in this profession, I realized, okay, that's not me, because the people around me are not the way I imagined them to be. So this is one point in my story. I imagined, okay, this is not me. The second point was when I was used to selling life insurances, because also the people, my surroundings, were not that I imagined them to be, like chill and traveling all around the world. They made a lot of money, but they were not traveling. And they were not free in the inside, and that's what I wanted to be. So next one was e-commerce. It was not me, because I'm not like the really creative person that creates ads and e-commerce stores. And the first time I met the people that I imagined them to be was like selling online courses, selling the real estate things. And I think salespeople, but online salespeople. This is my way.
And in your sales philosophy, something that I've come across that one of my mentors, Paul Daly, mentions all the time is that being different is always better than being better. Is this something that you also apply to your life? Is that why you sort of found yourself distancing from that sort of environment?
I think being yourself is very important, especially as a personal brand, because I think being defined better.
Well, in my opinion, say for example, I come to you and I'm trying to sell you something. And I come to you and say, okay, look, I have this thing for $20 that's going to change your life. You're not going to be very enticed to speak to me. You're going to be like, okay, it's just another crappy salesman. But if I come to you and I say, hi, my name is this, I have seen what you do and I feel like I can help you improve that. I can help you make more money. I've seen this fault in your systems. Or say, for example, another line could be, go after them, hey, are you in the position to take 15 qualified leads?
Yes.
Providing value straight away rather than shoving a price point in their face. That's what I mean by being different, is being
all right. Yes. I think in the sales area you have two things you cannot compare. It's like comparing apples to pineapples. So I think being different and being better is two different things, because I can be different in a way that I'm more straightforward in the sales pitch, and you can be different like you're like more listening. And what's better? So I think I can be better at more being direct, and you can be better at more listening, you know? So I think
push and pull to say
yes,
it's not one thing that you have to do.
yes. So I think you cannot compare it, but I think in order to be successful at some point, you have to be different than others, because people, especially in the sales area, don't buy from you because of the product. Okay, yes, that's a point, but they buy from you because you are the person you are, because they feel secure, they feel understand with you, and not with the product.
Hey guys, so just to set a little bit of context, this was a moment in which we were getting ready to start the next recording, and Luca gave me a little bit of insight on how I could improve my speech. And it was in this moment that other Luca, Luca Banzer, really shined, and he really showed his colors as a mentor, sort of guiding us on set as we were filming this very podcast. And this led into the next conversation. Enjoy.
One thing you also need to do is stop saying thanks for sharing after everything.
I don't know why. That's my default voice. No. I don't know why it keeps on saying.
I think as an honest feedback, it's polite, but it's very submissive.
100%, yeah. But again, that's sort of, I'm trying to break out of that. My character's not convictive enough. I'm too passive.
You are not your character. Then. You are not this. You are this that you say you are. If you say I'm not this, or if you say I am this character, then you are your character.
No, it's true, and I mean it's a personal flaw that I face all the time. I'm a lot more receiving rather than pushing out. I sort of make people say what they want rather than forcing it down.
Try something. Try from this point. Try something else. Try to not say. I always try to correct people or something. My mind tries to tell people what they're doing. So if just it's better in German, but if you just separate from I am this person, or you say my mind or my body acts this way when this and this happens, that's the first time separate. And if you can view your body doing something, then you can control it.
This is so interesting. All I can say is that's like a perfectly timed checkmate. It wasn't even meant to be a part of the podcast, but here we are. We're just going to slide this in.
Yeah.
So just to close things off, it's been absolutely great having you as a guest on today. And I'd like to ask, based on your experiences, what you've gone through in your life, and as a mentor, what you put forward to some of your students and the people who are fortunate enough to listen to you, what would you say to the listeners of the podcast today?
I think I will answer this question with a little story. And the story is like, there's like a magical forest. The life is a magical forest. And first of all, you go into the forest and you know somewhere in the forest, there's a 100% certainty when somewhere in this forest, there's a big green field of grass. It's like the paradise with like dolphins and all the animals you can imagine. Like imagine a paradise. And you go into this forest, like the jungle, but you know it's a magical forest. And in order to get to this paradise, you have to go through this jungle. The downside of this jungle is you don't know where the paradise is exactly. So you go into this forest and there are trails, ways. And the point is, it's a magical forest. So sometimes the trees move. Behind every tree, there can be like a bear or like a wolf that can eat you. And there's also a lot of fog sometimes, so you don't know where you are going. And you're going into a street or like a path, and there's like trees surrounding, so you can go further, so you have to go back. And the point is there, sometimes you don't see your way because of fog, because of trees, because of the road ending, because of like emergencies like a bear or something. But the point is there, in this magical forest. Do you see your next step? Can you take just your next step moving forward? And if you understand this principle, taking just your next step in life, the next sales call, the next sales pitch, the next text message, the next community network event, whatever. If you just do your next step, don't die, don't commit suicide or whatever, and don't give up and exit this jungle. At some point in life, you will get to the paradise. And that's one story I want to share. And the second one is this. Opportunities, not even regarding to any business model, opportunities are out there everywhere. And there's a story of two fish, and they're meeting in the ocean, and one of the fish says to the other fish, a friend of mine told me about this thing called water. He said, we need water to live, but did you ever heard of water? And the other fish said, no, I don't know what water is. And I think I would end the story with it, maybe think of it, because opportunities are everywhere. You just have to open your eyes and maybe then you will see them.
Very profound story. Thank you for sharing and thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.